Roman Reigns just broke WWE into pieces. The Shield's return is no longer idle chatter, it's a thunderclap you can feel in your bones. And at the center of it all? Roman Reigns, who may have just let the mask slip on a brand new Shield recruit. This isn't nostalgia, it's a warning shot. Let's break it down. A quick rewind. Veteran fans know exactly what the Shield stands for: Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. Three renegades who marched through crowds in black tactical gear, united by brotherhood and destruction. When they imploded, the split felt like treason. Rollins swung the steel chair that murdered the bond he once architected, and WWE storylines have been haunted by that betrayal ever since. Fast forward to May 2025. Saturday night's main event, May 25th, is already penciled into history books, yet nobody's wrestled a single hold. Why? Every breadcrumb point to a Shield resurrection. Just not the Shield you remember. Roman has been silent since WrestleMania 41, no promos, no ambushes, no vengeance. But backstage murmurs say he's been hunting, recruiting, plotting. The mission? Reveal a reforged Shield featuring a mystery fourth member. CM Punk's volatile return. The best in the world is back and instantly neck-deep in chaos. This Saturday, Punk teams with Sami Zayn to battle Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. On paper it's just a marquee tag match. In reality it's a powder keg. Rumor has it Zayn might stab Punk in the back mid-match, leaving him helpless against Rollins and Breaker. Should that betrayal erupt, Punk's gaze could pivot toward John Cena for Money in the Bank, freeing up Seth's faction to run wild. That's where Roman's shadow war begins. Seth Rollins the anti-architect. At WrestleMania 41, Rollins didn't just steal a victory, he recruited Braun Breaker and started engineering a new army. It's deliberate symmetry. The man who built and broke the Shield now manufactures its antithesis. WWE loves poetry in motion, nothing screams justice louder than the Shield rising to crush the empire Rollins is erecting. Roman Reigns disappears to reload. The tribal chief, kingpin of the last 4 years, vanished after Breaker's spear cost him everything. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Word is Reigns held clandestine meetings with WWE Creative, negotiating not just a comeback but a revelation. In a short-lived promo that WWE swiftly yanked offline, Roman, cloaked in darkness, declared, "Justice never dies, it evolves." The Shield returns, armed with a new weapon. A hulking silhouette stepped into frame behind him, face obscured, vest unmistakable. Fans dissected every pixel, most insist it's Jacob Fatu, the newly signed Samoan bruiser, others whisper about charismatic NXT standouts like Trick Williams or Carmelo Hayes. Why Seth's alliance matters. Rollins didn't stay solo. He built insurance instantly. Why? Because he knows a reckoning is coming. The man who betrayed his brothers now braces for their wrath. The symmetry is too perfect for WWE to ignore, the Shield, reborn, targeting the kingdom Rollins crafted in their absence. The countdown begins. Roman's return could detonate at Saturday night's main event, or the Raw that follows, but the fuse is lit. When the Shield marches out of the darkness, they won't be fighting for justice alone. They'll be hunting for revenge on Seth, Breaker, and anyone in their path. So ask yourself, can you feel the air tightening? This isn't just another storyline, it's a reckoning forged in betrayal and vengeance. Roman Reigns is ready to unveil his new soldier, and when he does, WWE's landscape will quake. Stay vigilant, Saturday night may rewrite history. There are rare moments in WWE history when the roar of the crowd feels like the rumble of an approaching earthquake. When the canvas-shaking stomps, the trembling barricades, and the tidal wave of voices merge into something more than noise. They become a warning. Tonight is one of those moments. You can almost taste the electricity in the air, metallic, sharp, impossible to ignore. The lights haven't even dimmed, but every seat inside the packed arena is already vibrating, every phone pointed toward the entrance ramp. Everybody knows Roman Reigns is back. What nobody knows, at least not yet, is why he's back, and what terrible revelation he's about to deliver. Ask yourself, what makes a legend? Is it championships hoisted overhead? Is it the ability to silence critics with a single spear? Or is it the whispered fear that spreads backstage when your name appears on the run sheet? Roman Reigns has mastered all three. He's conquered opponents, rewritten records, and forced the WWE Universe to bend its conversations around him like planets around a sun. But tonight, the tribal chief isn't just returning to reclaim a throne. He's returning to shatter something far more fragile, the illusion that the Shield's legacy was finished, sealed in history, and destined never to rise again. For 12 long weeks, Reigns has been a ghost, no tweets, no tribal decrees, no backstage ambushes. Just silence. For a man whose every heartbeat usually echoes through the WWE locker room, that hush felt like a cliffhanger hanging over WrestleMania 41's aftermath. Fans dissected airport sightings, grainy cell phone clips, even the way Paul Heyman avoided questions in press scrums. Every rumor pointed toward a single, seismic possibility: the Shield's black vest silhouette would once again stalk the halls of WWE. Yet there was a twist. Each insider tip whispered, it won't be the trio you remember. Roman searched for something different. Cue the archival footage, December 2012, Indianapolis, Survivor Series. 3 unknown renegades. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, leap the barricade in riot gear and powerbomb Ryback through an announce table. The camera zooms on their faces: fury, adrenaline, unity. For 2 years they blitzed the tag division, eviscerated main eventers, and redefined what a faction could be. Crowds didn't merely cheer, they believed. The Shield was brotherhood manifested, until June 2, 2014, when Seth Rollins swung a steel chair and fractured the bond forever. That hot iron strike turned friendship into folklore and betrayal into prophecy. Since that night, every time two former members cross paths, the WWE Universe holds its breath, expecting the ghosts of those black flak vests to march back into the arena. Fast forward to May 25, 2025. Saturday night's main event is less than 24 hours away, and every promotional spot, every social media teaser, every insider podcast is playing the same ominous tune: Roman Reigns has a secret. The card is stacked: Rollins and Breakker vs. Punk and Zayn, a women's championship clash, a high-risk ladder bout, but none of that matters. The narrative gravitational pull is Roman. More specifically, it's the mystery figure he's rumored to unveil, a hulking silhouette glimpsed for half a second in a promo WWE swiftly deleted from every platform. Fans froze the clip, enhanced the shadows, traced the jawline like amateur detectives. Was it Jacob Fatu? Carmelo Hayes? A scowling Trick Williams? All we know for certain is the figure wore the unmistakable vest, thick straps, reinforced lining, the kind that screams, believe in the Shield. Silence is the deadliest promo. While Roman vanished, Seth Rollins sprinted forward. At WrestleMania 41, the visionary snatched victory with a pedigree so vicious it left Reigns stunned on the mat, if only for 3 seconds. More importantly, Rollins used the spotlight to craft his own empire: Braun Breaker, raw power incarnate; Bronson Reed, the avalanche in human form; Paul Heyman, the silver-tongued serpent. Together they became a fortified kingdom, and every kingdom invites rebellion. Roman's absence wasn't surrender, it was reconnaissance. It was a strategist mapping weak points while his enemy celebrated. Tonight, that map bears claws. Visualize the arena lights snapping off. Heartbeats hammer inside eardrums. A single spotlight scans the entrance ramp, then dies. 3 echoing thuds: bang, bang, bang. Blast through the speakers. Not pyro, but something primal, the sound of shields striking sand in an ancient arena. A drumline rolls. On the Titantron, white words scrawl across black: Brotherhood never breaks. The Shield's signature theme erupts, but it's slower, heavier, dripping menace. Out walks Roman Reigns in a matte black hoodie pulled tight. He stops center stage, breath visible in the chilled air pumping from hidden vents. Behind him, a towering form hovers in darkness. face masked, muscles coiled, a specter waiting for permission to pounce. To grasp the gravity of this moment, rewind the emotional clock for every fan. The Shield wasn't just a faction, it was a promise that unity could topple giants. Their implosion left psychological scar tissue on the WWE universe. People grew wary of alliances, suspicious of handshakes, hungry for retribution. Roman unveiling a new recruit isn't simple nostalgia, it's surgery on an old wound. If the patient, read, the WWE universe, has healed unevenly, this scalpel could either close the scar for good or rip it back open, raw and bleeding. And that's exactly why tonight crackles with danger. Roman raises the microphone. The crowd hushes on reflex, the man's voice has become ritual. Y'all missed me? He asks, half smirk, half snarl. Boos and cheers swirl together like colliding storms. He paces, knuckles whitening around the mic. Then he speaks the words that splinter the atmosphere. The Shield never died. It evolved. He tilts his head, a conductor cueing the orchestra. The masked figure steps into the light. The arena gasps, genuine, involuntary, because a split-second flicker shows a tattoo pattern most people associate with Samoan royalty. Security guards press closer to the barricades. Ringside commentators scramble for earpiece updates. Twitter detonates in real time. Roman doesn't rip the mask away yet. Instead, he paints the stakes. Seth Rollins sits on a throne forged from betrayal. Braun Breaker thinks a spear can pierce a legacy. Paul Heyman forgot loyalty has consequences. Tonight, the debt comes due. The camera cuts to backstage where Rollins and Breaker watch a monitor, fists clenched, eyes narrowed. Roman's voice echoes over the feed, and when my new brother removes his mask, the WWE universe will understand that justice doesn't fade, it hunts. That word, hunts, lingers, cold and sharp. Roman lowers the mic. The music stops. Heartbeats fill the silence again, louder than before. He turns toward his partner, reaches for the edge of the mask, but pauses. Instead of revealing, he leans into the camera, whispering, Saturday night's main event. Bring your faith, your fear, your doubt. Bring your questions. And then watch as the Shield answers every single one. Cue blackout. A single graphic slashes across the Titantron, identity revealed, 24 hours. Then nothing. The lights snap back. Fans scream, commentators babble, social media surges. You, watching from home, feel it too, that tightening in your chest, that itch in your fingers to replay the clip frame by frame. You're desperate to know who's behind the mask because that answer doesn't just shift storylines, it rewrites destinies. So here's the mission of this very video, to trace every breadcrumb, decode every promo, challenge every rumor, and walk you step by step through the shadow war Roman Reigns has ignited. Stay till the end, and you'll witness the unmasking with eyes sharpened by context, armed with secrets the average viewer will miss. Because if the Shield truly rises again, if that new vest-bearing weapon stands shoulder to shoulder with Roman Reigns, the ripples won't stop at WWE's borders. They'll crash through pop culture, sports headlines, maybe even the very definition of what a wrestling faction can be in 2025. The clock is ticking. The fuse is burning. And whether you cheer or boo, whether you stand with Rollins' empire or bow to the tribal chief, you cannot escape the inevitable. The face beneath that mask will be revealed, and when it is, the entire wrestling world will need to choose a side. Picture the WWE Network splash screen fading to black. A single heartbeat thumps over the speakers, slow, deliberate, timeless. That sound isn't just an audio cue. It's the echo of a promise born in 2012, the moment three unknown renegades leapt a barricade and rewired sports entertainment chemistry. This section rewinds that clock. We're tearing open history's pages, not to wallow in nostalgia, but to measure the exact weight that Roman Reigns now wields as he threatens to forge a new Shield. Every legend leaves footprints, tonight we follow them back to the very first step. Survivor Series, Indianapolis, November 18, 2012. A main event triple threat between CM Punk, John Cena, and Ryback rumbles toward its crescendo. Suddenly the camera jerks, three men in black riot gear hurdle the barricade: Rollins, Ambrose, REIGNS. No Titantron hype package, no branded t-shirts, just tactical vests, combat boots, and an attitude that crackled like live wire. They drive Ryback through the announce table with a triple powerbomb that rattles the lenses of ringside cameras. In that instant, the WWE Universe doesn't yet have a name for them, but it has a feeling: unpredictability. Commentary stumbles, JBL finally spits the line that sticks: "What is this, some kind of shield?" History clicks into place. Over the next 12 months, the Shield conducts guerrilla warfare on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. They rarely enter by the stage, preferring stairwells, skybox aisles, production scaffolding, weaponizing surprise itself. Each man plays a role carved in stone: Seth Rollins, the lit fuse architect; Ariel Daredevil, strategist; Dean Ambrose, the street rat philosopher, unpredictable brawler, mouthpiece dripping sarcasm; Roman Reigns, the silent lion whose spear could fold a heavyweight like a deck chair. Together they embody a perfect combat algorithm: speed, ruthlessness, unity. They aren't villains exactly, nor heroes, just a wrecking crew whose handshake means more than any championship contract. In their first 16 televised six-man tags, the Shield goes 16-0. They pin legends: Kane, champions, Daniel Bryan, and Golden Boys, John Cena. At Extreme Rules 2013, Reigns and Rollins capture the tag titles. Moments later Ambrose secures the United States Championship. The image of three men, dripping sweat, hoisting gold under swirling spotlights becomes modern mythology. But hardware isn't the real currency, it's chemistry. They never argue on screen, never splinter backstage, never show fear in interviews. Fans buy t-shirts not because of slogans but because they want to belong to that unbreakable brotherhood. Listen to early promos: "We're crusaders of justice." Ambrose croons the word like it's the name of a forbidden cocktail. Justice becomes their brand, but it's justice on their terms. They target hypocrites, power abusers, and anyone coasting on legacy. That blurred moral alignment fascinates audiences. Are they righting wrongs or scripting their own? Either way, the locker room starts locking doors. Late 2013, subtle fractures appear. During an episode of SmackDown, Ambrose accidentally clocks Reigns with a clothesline, eyes lock, tension spikes, but Rollins mediates. Commentary plays it down, yet Reddit explodes: Shield breakup soon? The genius of the storyline is restraint. For 5 full months, writers tease implosion without delivering. Each stare down feels like a countdown timer. By the time WrestleMania 30 rolls around, paranoia replaces certainty. Fans start cheering or booing based solely on who seems more likely to betray first. Remember Payback 2014 in Chicago? The Shield obliterates Evolution, Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, in a clean sweep. 3 young rebels topple 3 made men. That victory should cement a dynasty, instead it lights the tinder. Backstage reports leak that management fears the Shield's momentum eclipses solo star potential. Creative dangles bigger paydays, singles pushes ego bait. Somewhere in the chaos, Seth Rollins studies blueprints no one else sees. He's the architect, after all, and hammers the first wedge. June 2, 2014, Raw. The Shield stands triumphant after routing Evolution again. Triple H's Plan B music hits, cue Rollins, steel chair in hand. Without warning, he cracks Ambrose across the back. The building gasps. Roman turns, disbelief etched on his face. The next swing folds him, too. Cheers usually clang, but this one echoes. Internet traffic spikes to overload. Vine, remember Vine, loops the betrayal 13 million times in 24 hours. What made the moment iconic wasn't just violence, it was trust weaponized. Fans invest in connection. Rollins hijacks that investment and compounds interest in heartbreak. Post-split trajectories, Rollins aligns with the authority, cashes in at WrestleMania 31, becomes poster boy for corporate excess. Ambrose spirals into lunatic fringe mayhem, capturing the WWE Championship in 2016 before exiting to conquer other pastures. Roman Reigns slowly ascends, survives boos, illnesses, and sabbaticals, until adopting the tribal chief persona that rules the pandemic era. Yet every singles milestone, every belt lifted, still drags the Shield's ghost onto the stage. Interviews echo with questions: will you ever reunite? Live crowds sing Sierra Hotel India Echo Lima Delta during title defenses. Like a constellation, the pattern remains long after the stars drift apart. Fandom studies prove nostalgia follows a 7-year cycle, but the Shield's legacy renews yearly. Kids who were 10 in 2014 are 21 now, buying front-row seats and chanting Roman with the reverence of pilgrims. Newer viewers binge the WWE Network and find the trio's arcs compressed, feeling heartbreak in hours instead of years. Video essays dissect each promo as if it's Shakespeare. For many, The Shield is the last time wrestling felt dangerously real, unscripted chaos inside a scripted world. That emotional equity is priceless, and Roman knows it. Off-camera, the trio's brotherhood never truly dissolved. Charity appearances, backstage hugs, cross-promotion shoutouts on podcasts, evidence surfaces like smoldering embers. Rollins stands as best man at Ambrose's wedding, Roman defends both men publicly when fan vitriol spikes. The audience doesn't forget. So when Roman teases a reforged Shield, it isn't simply creative license, it's tapping into a reservoir of real-life camaraderie that still tugs at heartstrings. Storytelling has a ledger. The chair shot in 2014 left an unpaid balance, betrayal demands reckoning. WWE exploited fragments of it in 2019's brief reunion, but the account still bleeds red ink. Roman's promise to unveil a new member is creative's chance to settle that debt, to either reclaim honor or weaponize pain once more. Fans sense the accounting, even if they can't articulate it. That's why social media pulses hotter the closer we get to Saturday night's main event. They're waiting for closure, or carnage. Every great saga thrives on mythic prophecy, and the rumor of a fourth Shield member is pure alchemy. 3 was perfection, 4 is transgression, mutation, evolution. Redditors compile suspect lists: Jacob Fatu, Samoan Monster, Bloodline Ties, Rorety Ora. Carmelo Hayes. Swagger Incarnate, Mellow Don't Miss catchphrase ready-made for Shield merchandise. Trick Williams, charismatic powerhouse who could speak as loudly with fists as Ambrose once did with words. Each candidate offers a different thematic flavor, and every fantasy booking thread ends with the same question: what does Roman want the Shield to be in 2025? Recruitment isn't random, it's referendum on the faction's new mission. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins reeks of déjà vu. He too leads a stable, Breaker and Reed, rooted in power and opportunism. Fans note the symmetry: Rollins once fractured a family for gold, now that family might return to fracture him. WWE adores poetic justice. It's Chekhov's gun in spandex: if Rollins forged a weapon of betrayal in Act 1, it must fire back at him by Act 3. Roman's silence has loaded the barrel, Saturday will pull the trigger. Imagine Braun Breaker pacing the locker room, tape ripping between calloused fingers, eyes darting toward the monitor. He respects Roman's spear, he modeled his own after it. Does admiration breed fear? Multiply that by millions watching at home, torn between hero worship and schadenfreude. That emotional push-pull amplifies ratings, merchandise, and memory. It's the secret sauce of sports entertainment: provoke the heart until it can't look away. Roman's tribal chief run already cemented his Hall of Fame plaque, but reviving the Shield rewrites the inscription. He isn't content being remembered, he wants to be mythologized, a patriarch who resurrects dynasties, a tactician who bends history to his will. If he succeeds, the Shield shifts from fond memory to ongoing empire. If he fails, the ghost finally rests, but Roman's aura might fracture beyond repair. That's the gamble. Legends always wager legacy in their endgame plays. As this rewind concludes, the timer on the Titantron keeps ticking. 24 hours until masks drop, 24 hours until the ledger tallies. Viewers must now choose, savor comfort and nostalgia or embrace the terror of change. Because if Roman indeed found a fourth brother, a weapon sharpened in secrecy, the shield that emerges won't just replay old riffs. It will write a new song, louder, darker, and aimed straight at Seth Rollins' glass castle. So exhale, but don't get comfortable. History's rewind button just snapped back to play, and the screen is frozen on the exact frame where possibility blurs into inevitability. In the next chapter, we'll dissect Rollins' betrayal with surgeon-level precision, because to predict Roman's next move, we have to understand the original sin that still stains every chair in every arena. Buckle up. Freeze frame. Raw, June 2, 2014, 10:57 p.m. Eastern. The camera's lens still shivers after Evolution's defeat. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Back slick with sweat, rest forearms on the middle rope, catching their breath. Seth Rollins slips outside, collects two steel chairs, flicks a glance toward Triple H on the ramp, then slides silently back in. A heartbeat later, history detonates. That clang is more than metal on muscle, it's the starter pistol for a decade of obsession we're about to decode. Betrayals in wrestling usually weaponize words first. Think HBK's "I kick you, I whack you" barbershop speech or Jericho smashing the list of KO mid-monologue. Rollins bypasses language entirely. By choosing blunt steel over breath, he renders explanation secondary, shock primary. In psychological warfare, the unexpected modality of violence amplifies trauma. Silence before impact is the lull that makes thunder terrifying. That's why, to this day, crowds gasp at mere replays. Our brains refire the jolt of a betrayal announced in pain, not punctuation. Rewind 2 weeks. WWE cameras catch a backstage corridor moment, Triple H whispering to Rollins after a Shield victory. No clear audio, just nods and a conspiratorial half-smile. Most viewers shrugged, assuming it typical authority figure business. With hindsight, that 12-second blur is the Rosetta Stone. Triple H, architect of the authority, saw an apparatus too dangerous to fight head-on. So he performed a reverse siege, corrupt the heart, fold the brothers from within. Rollins, groomed at NXT's ground floor by Hunter himself, was the logical cipher. Rollins carried the moniker architect long before Joker grinning at betrayal. In NXT he storyboarded match flow, edited finish sequences, plotted week-to-week arcs with whiteboard precision. Creative peers describe him as restless, always arranging chess pieces no one else sees. Translate that to group dynamics. Rollins thrives when building, but suffocates when structures calcify. By May 2014, the Shield's blueprint felt complete, titles won, legends slain, PPV headline ready. For Seth, stasis equals death. Triple H offered a new blueprint, fresh steel beams to weld, corporate power, money in the bank briefcase, universal spotlight. Need for novelty mutated into greed for legacy. Watch the footage at 0.25 times speed. Rollins hoists the chair with elbows tucked, a lifter's form, not a brawler's. The arc is fluid, almost respectful, until the last microsecond where wrists snap and blade edge meets Ambrose's spine. Reigns' head pivots a hair late, just enough to register confusion before the second swing caves his shoulder. WWE's production truck, sensing a seismic clip, switches to a jib shot framing Rollins between his fallen brothers, arms wide, chair dripping symbolism. Lighting rigs bathe the ring in pale white, giving the tableau an eerie surgical glow. It's stagecraft weaponized for maximum myth. Arena eyewitnesses recall hearing Ambrose mutter "you mother," while clutching ribs, an expletive bleeped in live mix. Reigns, eyes glassy, allegedly whispered "why" twice before trainers hustled him out. Rollins left through the crowd, not the ramp, mirroring Shield debuts, twisting nostalgia into mockery. Backstage, production assistants found 3 flak vests tossed in a heap near Gorilla. One vest, Roman's, was torn along the seam. Proof the betrayal aimed to shred identity as much as flesh. On-screen, commentators sold Rollins' move as ruthless ambition. Off-screen, talent considered it meta-commentary on WWE politics. Shield merch was outselling Cena's neon empire, creative worried about an unstoppable babyface juggernaut. Splitting them ensured diversified storylines and merchandise lines. Some veterans whispered that Seth took the bullet so Roman could ascend solo uncontested. Whether Rollins agreed or exploited the narrative remains debated, but the fracture served multiple masters: corporate, creative, personal. Merchandise reports show Shield t-shirt sales spiked 27% the week after the breakup. Human psychology gravitates to relics when the object of affection is threatened. Yet 3 months later, sales plunged below pre-breakup baseline. Meanwhile, individual shirts, especially Rollins' First Authority tee, outsold their trio bundle by 45% at live events. The move wasn't just storyline gold, it monetized segmentation, converting one megabrand into 3 profitable microbrands. WWE's finance department silently applauded the chair shot's ROI. Rollins spent 5 years chasing absolution, public apologies during intermittent reunions, Shield-style fist bumps, that brief 2019 run against Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley. Yet each reunion carried expiration dates measured in weeks. Because story physics demand that unresolved betrayal echo until counterbalanced by karmic reversal. Roman's modern mission, to unveil a new Shield, threatens to flip that polarity at last. If betrayal built Rollins' kingdom, then Roman intends to topple it with compounded interest. Wrestling thrives on mythic half-life. Betrayal that volcanic rarely cools, it crystallizes, a jagged mountain casting shadows over every future storyline. Each time Rollins swings a chair, fans flashback. Each time Ambrose, now Moxley, bleeds on another continent, commentators evoke shades of Shield lunacy. And every Roman title defense features at least one camera pan to the empty aisle where his brothers once marched. It's collective trauma and collective craving, viewers need closure they never got. Parse Seth's promos 2015 to 2024, guilt is subtextual. He brags about cash-ins yet flinches when interviewers say brotherhood. His Joker-esque cackle covers micro-expressions of unease when crowds chant, "You sold out." Even in 2023's visionary persona, he sought disciples, Becky, Murphy, AOP, mirroring Shield structure but with himself safeguarded atop the hierarchy. Psychologists call this trauma reenactment, repeating dynamics in new relationships to stage manage the outcome. Seth perpetually rewrites betrayal hoping one script grants absolution, none have. Flashback to 2020 SmackDown. Roman, fresh tribal chief, tells JUSO, "You can either fall in line or take the consequences." Hidden subtext, that's the same binary Rollins imposed with his chair. Roman internalized the lesson, loyalty demanded, not requested. His bloodline run is essentially Shield ideology stripped of democracy, one fist, one voice, many soldiers. Now he's ready to rebrand the original tale with himself sole progenitor, removing the architect and installing new mortar. At WrestleMania 41, Breakker speared Roman mid-Superman punch windup, gifting Rollins victory. Symbolism drips, a spear, Roman's exclamation mark, turned against him, mirroring the steel chair 9 years earlier. Rollins didn't swing the weapon this time, he recruited one. It's betrayal outsourced. Roman's rumored new Shield weapon? Likely a person who will invert that inversion, poetry stacked on poetry. When stories rhyme this tightly, climactic pages write themselves in blood. Away from kayfabe, that 2014 clip birth memes, think pieces, TikTok lip syncs, even a Philosophy 101 lecture on trust violation. WWE licensed still frames for poster art, Rollins signed replica chairs at Access for $200 a pop. It transcended sports entertainment, entering cultural shorthand for backstabbing. Thus, Roman's tease of a new reveal harnesses mainstream currency. If Rollins equals betrayal, what does the opposite, a reforged brotherhood, look like? People from casual viewers to the New York Times culture desk want the answer. Myth theory says an original sin must be answered by a redemptive act or equal and opposite catastrophe. WWE teased redemption in 2019 but aborted when Moxley departed. The ledger stayed open. Roman's silence, his justice evolves mantra, and the silhouetted partner all scream invoice due. Will he collect by forgiving Rollins? Unlikely, or by plunging a metaphorical chair deeper than Seth ever swung? Saturday's arena is the courthouse, fans, the jury, creative, the executioner. Jacob Fatu unmasks, demolishes Breaker, and drags Rollins into a triple powerbomb, visually overriding 2014's image with a fresh, Reigns-centered triumph. The mask hides Sami Zayn, whose rumored betrayal of Punk twists another friendship, forging cyclical tragedy that chains Rollins in karmic purgatory. Wildcard Carmelo Hayes flips heel, stealing Rollins' architect aura and forcing Seth to relive betrayal. This time from the victim's side. Each route pays the debt, each writes a new stanza in betrayal's poem. As we stand hours from revelation, we're suspended in the moment after a gun's hammer falls but before the bullet hits. Everyone knows pain is coming, no one knows which heart it will pierce. That tension, the same static Rollins injected in 2014, crackles through ticket queues, Reddit spoilers, talent locker rooms. Roman has weaponized our collective PTSD, and the countdown bleeds seconds. Now that we've dissected the original sin, we pivot to Roman's lost months, the clandestine war room where he charted vengeance. Because only by understanding the silence can we anticipate the roar. Get ready to stalk the shadows with the tribal chief himself. Imagine a pitch-black studio void except for a single Roman candle flickering in the center. Each sputter of flame throws shifting shadows that hint at something massive just outside the light's reach. That, metaphorically, is what the last 12 weeks felt like for the WWE Universe, a lonely flame, Roman Reigns myth, surrounded by a darkness brimming with rumor, dread, and anticipation. April 7, 2025, 1:14 a.m., roughly 45 minutes after the Mania broadcast signs off. Cameras catch Roman limping through the underground loading dock at Allegiant Stadium. No press scrum, no handshake line, no post-show tweet. Just a hood pulled low, Paul Heyman 3 steps behind, and a single sentence muttered into a phone, "It's time to close the door." Then he disappears into a tinted SUV. From that moment forward, Roman Reigns, rating king, merch juggernaut, algorithm magnet, enters radio silence. What does silence do? It forces storytellers, fans, and rivals alike to guess. Guessing turns to theorizing, theorizing to obsession. Roman weaponizes absence the way most superstars wield finishers. Over 12 weeks, paparazzi snapshots yield only 3 confirmed spottings: Miami International Airport, blurry photo of Roman at a private jet terminal, timestamp obscured. Samoan Dynasty compound, Pensacola, drone footage quickly DMCA takedown by WWE legal. Connecticut backwoods diner, grainy surveillance still, Roman in baseball cap, meeting with someone whose face the diner's owner refuses to reveal. In an age of perpetual surveillance, those scant crumbs feel impossibly deliberate, as though Romans mapped each breadcrumb on a corkboard marked, "Drive them crazy." Leaked production memos, source, 2 disgruntled ex-writers, detail, Project Exodus, Roman's codename pitch to return with a singular spectacle, culminating in an unprecedented faction reveal. Negotiations revolve around 3 non-negotiables Roman demands: creative autonomy, final script veto power until SummerSlam. Cinematic budget, 3 pre-taped vignettes shot on red Komodo X cameras, graded like a Netflix thriller. Mystery partner confidentiality, a double-blind system where only Roman, Triple H, and 1 senior producer know the recruit's actual identity until debut night. By all accounts, WWE initially bristles at such control. But ratings projections for a Reigns-less Raw plummet by 18%, Peacock Analytics forecast a 12% subscriber dip without him. In poker terms, Roman's the guy holding every ace. Creative folds. Find me a monster who understands family. That line, allegedly texted from Roman to a talent relations scout, frames the search. The short list eventually narrows to 4: Jacob Fatu, lineage, raw menace, 285 pounds of whiplash agility. Carmelo Hayes, charisma at jet engine levels, the sideways grin Roman used to flash pre-tribal era. Trick Williams, 6 feet 4 inches, social media savant, the gift of monologue. Ilya Dragunov, wild card. Not Samoan but a frenetic storm whose obsession with honor parallels Roman's fixation on legacy. Roman supposedly invites each to a closed-door trust gauntlet at the WWE Performance Center. No cameras, no referees, just Roman, a ring, and questions like knife thrusts. What will you sacrifice? Who do you obey? How loud can you be when I tell you to whisper? 3 leave bruised physically, 1 leaves mentally wrecked. Only 1 leaves wearing a prototype shield vest. Reports trickle out of a converted hangar near Mexico City where Roman spent 2 weeks sparring under luchador masks with Virus, the CMLL mat wizard, to sharpen chain wrestling cardio. Another week sees him in Big Bear, California, altitude training spears against a crash mat rigged on a 20-degree incline, simulate running uphill through pyro smoke. Physical silence, ironically, is louder than 1,000 promos. Roman's not sulking, he's forging. Nutritionist intel, daily macro split. 40% protein, 35% complex carbs, 25% fats. Inclusion of raw Samoan breadfruit chips, nostalgia fuel, 1-8 quips, underlines that Roman's fueling both body and heritage. May 17, 3:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. WWE's official X account uploads a 43-second black and white teaser. Roman's silhouette, rain pelting down, voice velvet rough, justice never dies, it evolves. A second silhouette, a giant, steps behind him. Frame glitches. Upload vanishes after 9 minutes, replaced by a 404. That 9-minute availability sparks 2.3 million impressions, 480,000 screen recordings, and a cottage industry of Enhance the Darkness YouTube breakdowns. The deletion isn't a mistake, it's an adrenaline spike. WWE later issues a boilerplate technical error statement. Fans reply with chair emojis, code 4, we know you're lying. Paul Heyman, historically Roman's mouthpiece, suddenly appears less, fewer interviews, shorter promos. According to one SmackDown writer, Roman requested Heyman remain quiet to magnify the void. That vacuum spawns 300% more fan-driven speculation threads. In narrative rhetoric, absence functions like negative space in paintings. The blankness shapes perception louder than color. Heyman does, however, deliver one cryptic nugget on busted open radio: silence is merely patience disguised as power. Translation: the tribal chief is coiling. Deep in Florida's Panhandle, the Inoai clan gathers traditionally every spring. This year's summit is rumored to have hosted not just blood relatives but potential Shield aspirants, a bold move that merges professional storyline with ancestral rites. Elder Sika allegedly blesses Roman's plan, tapping a carved kava bowl against Roman's forehead. Protect the name. Protect the circle. Wrestlers talk about goosebumps when that story surfaces. Even cynics respect warrior culture gravitas. Jacob Fatu, notably, is in Florida that week. Instagram geotag proves it, yet posts only ocean sunsets, no people. Non-coincidence? Fans think not. Raw, May 12. A backstage monitor glitches mid-broadcast. For 3 frames, the Shield logo flashes inverted, black letters on transparent field. Production claims signal interference. Fans freeze frame, circulate proof. The clip amasses 4.6 million TikTok loops in 72 hours, trending hashtag Shield signal. Rollins laughs it off on Twitter. Nice Photoshop, kids. But laughter laced with expletive emojis betrays nerves. Psychologists label this contextual priming. Roman seeds microsymbols to program audience anticipation, ensuring maximum pop when the real reveal drops. It's a magician showing you the hats inside before pulling out the rabbit. Suspense calibrates to the millimeter. Late May. One night inside WWE Stamford HQ, lights burn past midnight on the 4th floor edit bay. Security logs show keycard swipes 4. Roman Reigns, Triple H, music director Neil Lowry, and audio engineer Steph Delgado. Purpose: remix the Shield's classic special op theme into a slowed, minor key variant with sub-bass drops. Each drop aligned to a light cue file labeled blackout_microburst. The file is titled shield_evo_v1.ftk. By dawn, servers disinfected of evidence, yet an intern's Fitbit sync inadvertently logs 2.7 kilometers of pacing in that room. The track likely debuts the night Roman unmasks his recruit. Multiple sources say Seth Rollins begins conducting voluntary midnight training at the Performance Center, codenamed Insomnia Club, dragging Breaker and Reed into touring circuits, neck bridges, chair shot calluses. Fear disguised as preparation. When asked by Caleb Braxton about the nocturnal sessions, Rollins forces a grin. The architect never sleeps when there's demolition nearby. Subtext: Roman's silence has turned the self-proclaimed visionary into a man checking locks twice. Raw viewership experiences a 7% dip the first Monday. Roman no-shows, climbs back 5% the next week on rumor, then plateaus. WWE board spreadsheets annotate the loss as REIGNS Delta. Network affiliates practically beg for his on-camera return. Stock analysts on CNBC speculate on Roman Reigns Index, a volatility metric tied to his storylines. One portfolio manager jokes, "My pension's heel turn depends on Roman's face." Silence, then, has fiscal fangs. A biomechanics lab at the University of Central Florida confirms Roman rented their motion capture cage for 3 nights, working with former NFL linebacker consultants to maximize kinetic transfer in the spear. Data revealed a new angle, 11-degree lower hip drop, 4% faster takeoff, projected 9% higher G-force on impact. Engineers nicknamed the tweak Omega Spear. Combine that with a potential partner able to deliver tandem offense and you're staring at pay-per-view highlight reels months in advance. An anonymous stagehand swears Roman's private locker room now hosts a corkboard spanning 2 walls. Polaroids of Braun Breaker's spear setups, stills of Rollins' knee stomp angles, Becky Lynch promo schedules, yes, maybe leverage, and 3 central photos connected by crimson twine, Jacob Fatu, mystery partner blank, tribal mask. No one's allowed to photograph the board, but the whistleblower's description alone sends Reddit into red string frenzy. The board's existence screams battlefield commander, not sports entertainer. Every arena Roman fails to appear and becomes a reverse pop phenomenon. Instead of boos, there's a hush when his name is announced, followed by a chant of "Where is Roman?" The hush acts like a collective inhale, prepping lungs for eventual explosion. By staying silent, Roman recruits millions into his storyline, each viewer an accomplice in the suspense. As Alfred Hitchcock taught, mystery is an intellectual process, but suspense is emotional. Roman's PhD thesis in suspense is nearing defense day. Friday, May 24th. Roman lands in Las Vegas on a red-eye charter. He checks into an undisclosed hotel under alias Lady Tano. Suite request, blackout curtains, an air purifier humming white noise, and a portable cryotherapy chamber. Staff notice a ritual. Roman does 4 laps of the hallway barefoot at 3 a.m., whispering the Samoan word manua, prosper. A trainer enters the suite an hour later with a custom vest. Carbon fiber plates stitched beneath ballistic nylon. Less weight, more shock absorption. Armor for a king expecting war. Backstage, 15 minutes before Saturday night's main event goes live, Kevin Dunn, executive producer, radios, confirm Camera 5 has isolation on the ramp for possible surprise. Gorilla position staff on edge. Roman, hoodie up, sits on a wooden equipment crate, eyes closed. The mystery recruit, face still masked, stands guard. They exchange no words, only nods. Think of a tsunami's eerie stillness right before the ocean wall rises. That hush is the final gift Roman's silence will give us. Next comes noise. Roman's silence was never emptiness, it was gestation. A strategic embryo swelling under hush until its first scream could crack the sky. We have charted his every ghost step, decrypted his non-statements, and measured the roar inside his quiet. Now the stage is set, the blackout lights calibrated, the Omega Spear chambered. In the following chapter, we pivot from preparation to detonation, Saturday night's main event itself, a powder keg card where CM Punk's volatility, Sami Zayn's moral crossroads, and Seth Rollins' fragile empire converge with Roman's return. Keep your guard up, countdown clocks rarely reach zero, they explode on the beat before. There's a particular timbre in the roar of a live crowd when cult of personality blasts through the speakers. Half euphoria, half danger, the kind of roar that tells security to tighten formation. On April 29, 2025, that roar ripped the roof off Monday Night Raw as CM Punk, black hoodie flapping, strode through the sea of humanity like Moses parting crimson tides. 11 years after he first dropped a pipe bomb, 6 years after walking away amid lawsuits and blood-soaked UFC gloves, Punk returned, older, angrier, and hell-bent on carving his initials in any empire foolish enough to stand tall. Peel back the layers. 2011's Punk was Rebel Scholar, quoting Kenta Kobashi while yawning at corporate synergy. 2014's Punk was battle-worn iconoclast, escaping creative suffocation. 2025's Punk? He's a heat-seeking missile with nothing left to prove, therefore nothing left to lose. He inked a contract rumored to grant him pay-per-view percentage points and full promo freedom, but only if he agreed to appear every televised week from April through SummerSlam. No vanishing acts, no creative burnout clauses. WWE thinks it caged the dragon, Punk accepted because cages are fun to burn. Backstage producers whisper that Punk rejected every sanitized promo bullet point, offering instead scrawled notebook margins reading, "Say something that makes Rollins' pupils dilate." A man aiming for throbbing veins rather than trending hashtags is combustible creative nitro. Enter Sami Zayn, equal parts conscience and chaos. He's the rallying cry of underdogs, the moral lighthouse in turbulent seas. For 2 years he waged ideological war against Roman's bloodline, now he finds himself partnered with Punk to face Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker at Saturday night's main event. On paper, Zayn Punk looks Cinderella and Street Fighter sharing a carriage. In practice, they're nitroglycerin and spark plug. Why accept Punk as partner? Sources say Zayn sees the bout as surgical extraction. Remove Rollins' fangs before they sink deeper into WWE. Punk calls it target practice. Their shared enemy binds them, but rope woven of mutual hatred frays fast once knives need fresh throats. Rumors swirl that Zayn may summon his darker instincts mid-match and bury a blade between Punk's shoulder blades, trading conscience for survival. Both men define themselves by how ruthlessly they seize the narrative steering wheel. When two storytellers fight, truth is collateral damage, and collateral damage is the point. Standing astride Rollins is Braun Breaker, a 285-pound ex-linebacker with a spear that rips solar plexuses in half. WrestleMania 41 proved he can detonate Roman Reigns. Saturday night's main event tests whether he can do it under Punk's verbal napalm. Breaker's arsenal: freak torque, Steiner DNA, and a Kevin Green sprint speed unnatural for men his size. But Punk's arsenal is psychological trickery. A single in-ring whisper, "Your daddy's proud," or is he, can strip muscle of certainty. Breaker's youth and brashness might crash against Punk's veteran cruelty like a Lamborghini into a brick wall, spectacular and costly. Why jump straight into Rollins' crosshairs? Because Money in the Bank looms 5 weeks away, and nothing screams world title trajectory louder than pinning Seth clean while 2 million households watch. But backstage chatter says Punk's eye isn't solely on gold. It's on legacy reclamation. Defeating Rollins and Breaker, then toppling Roman's eventual Shield resurrection, would let Punk stand atop 2 smoking empires like a modern-day Ezekiel cackling at false prophets. Yet the long game loops further. Some insiders claim Punk requested an option to pursue John Cena at SummerSlam if narrative winds shift. Why Cena? Because Punk hunts icons the way big wave surfers hunt 100-foot breakers. Danger validates existence. Cena's Hollywood commitments may block that path, but Punk's contract includes a marquee clause, letting him substitute any Hall of Famer if schedules align. Translation: Punk's future dance card is flexible homicide. Footage leaks from Rise Chicago, a grungy warehouse gym where Punk spends dawn sparring catch wrestling rounds with independent killers half his age. He invites them to hit hard, his only rule: keep swinging till your lungs beg for paramedics. Viewers watching blurry iPhone clips count at least 4 occasions he refuses water breaks, opting for mouthfuls of snow shoveled from a back alley drift. When asked why, he growls, because Rollins drinks bottled guilt. I hydrate on consequence. Physio notes show Punk's conditioning VO2 max improved 11% in 6 weeks, while body fat trimmed to 8.2%. He's in 2011 pipe bomb shape, but with scar tissue, calluses and surgical hardware in joints, a cyborg fed on unfinished business. Raw, May 19. Punk stands nose-to-nose with Rollins, the ring ropes might as well be razor wire. Punk's voice drops to a hush, remember when you shattered Brotherhood for a corporate check? Good news, I cashed out of hero worship years ago. I'm here to repossess your soul, free of charge. Rollins laughs, high-pitched, brittle, retorting, I architect dynasties. You burn bridges. The crowd devours the duel. But psychologists break down micro-expressions. Rollins' left eyebrow twitches at corporate check, Punk's jaw clenches at burn bridges. Each verbal barb leaves invisible lacerations. Saturday's bell will press salt into those wounds. Zane's moral ledger complicates everything. While Punk fantasizes about empire arson, Zane is still haunted by nights he conspired with the bloodline under duress. Aligning with Punk could be penance, unless fear of Rollins' retaliation triggers survival instinct. When rumors leaked that Creative pitched a Zane turn, Twitter civil war erupted. #SaveSammy versus #SnakeSammy trended simultaneously. One writer claims the finish sheet for Saturday's tag match exists in 2 versions, one where Zane remains loyal, another where he slams a steel chair across Punk's spine, poetic inversion of Rollins' 2014 sin. Let's game theory possibilities, notice how every branch loops back to Roman. Punk's volatility isn't subplot. It's domino poised to topple into tribal chief's warpath. Rollins carries unspoken dread. What if Punk's return reminds the WWE universe of his 2015 champion run overshadowed by booze? Both men sought validation through rebellion, Punk's presence resurrects that mirror. Observers note Seth pacing backstage muttering, not this time, like an athlete chanting away ghosts. That psychological tripwire may detonate mid-match. One botched knee strike, one moment of déjà vu, and Braun Breaker finds himself shoulder-checking a distracted leader. Veteran ref Charles Robinson assigned, producers instruct him to let action breathe, only call blatant infractions. Translation, expect legal chaos, chair teases, floorboard spills through announce desk, maybe even stage screen collisions. If a betrayal spot triggers, it must look organic, not cue-carded. Robinson's experience in Ric Flair retirements and Undertaker drama brands him the right midwife for messy legend play. Vegas sportsbook set over/under on crowd decibel peak at 125 dB. Punk entrances often touch jet engine territory, but Breaker's spear on Roman hit 118 dB at Mania. Expect seesaw surges, Punk pop, Rollins heat, Zane moral support roar, Breaker explosive boo/yay confusion. Producers plan dynamic audio mix to ride those waves, because reaction soundtrack is half the story WWE sells. Social listening analytics show CM Punk vs. Seth Rollins conversation volume eclipsed Roman Reigns' mystery partner 436 hours post-Raw, briefly diverting spotlight. Roman's camp reportedly loved it, letting other storms distract eyes before his hurricane hits. An insider leaked Clause 17(b). Talent reserves right to produce unscheduled in-ring address, maximum 5 minutes, once per pay-per-view cycle, provided it directly precedes or follows scheduled match. In plain English, Punk can hijack the microphone after the tag match if he wants. Picture this, Zane betrayal leaves Punk bleeding. Instead of medics, he demands the mic and name-drops Roman Reigns, goading the new Shield to face him. That spontaneous provocation could wrench Roman's reveal timeline forward by an hour, ripping the script into confetti. Punk has unfinished business with the concept of eras. He ushered the reality era but watched it morph into the network era without him. Reigns commands the tribal era, Rollins frames himself as visionary era, and Punk refuses to be era-less. Saturday is his sledgehammer swing at the stone tablet of WWE chronology. Carve his initials beside theirs or shatter the tablet entirely. Author Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, Law 15, Crush Your Enemy Totally. Punk's decades-long reading list reportedly includes Greene's oeuvre. Friends claim he dog-eared that law. If he wins Saturday, expect no handshake, expect curb stomp smirk, microphone monologue, maybe hijacking Rollins' own cackle. Final smackdown before the event, Punk and Zayn accidentally cross paths in catering. No cameras, but sources recall palpable tension. Zayn offers halal chicken, Punk declines, scoops plain rice, nods curtly. Respect or distrust? Nobody knows. Later, Rollins strolls through the Commons, sings Cult of Cowardice to the tune of Punk's theme. Breaker laughs too loud, masking nerves. Every exchange feels like sparks near a gasoline drum. Saturday, 7:55 p.m. local. Guerrilla position. Punk shadowboxes, hoodie half-zipped, earbuds pumping Mudhoney. Zayn paces circles, reciting Arabic affirmation under breath. Across the corridor, Rollins and Breaker review hand signals, double knee strike spot, tandem curb stomp variation. Producers clear hallways. You can feel molecules vibrating faster, as if physics pre-experiences carnage. When Cult of Personality hits that first riff tonight, we won't just witness a tag match, we'll witness a lit match flicked into a munitions depot. Punk's volatility, Zayn's moral seesaw, Rollins' empire, Breaker's raw force, all ingredients swirling in a pressure cooker whose release valve is about to be yanked off. Roman Reigns isn't scheduled for this bout, yet his shadow looms over every kick and counter. Because whichever way the ring canvas is stained, blood, betrayal, or upset victory, Roman's new shield must respond. This match is the sonar ping telling the tribal chief exactly how weak or reinforced Seth's walls truly are. The return volley? It could come 20 minutes later, or tomorrow night on Raw, or 3 months hence at SummerSlam. But it will come.